3. Give short answers. 1. Short note. The Dutch in South India. Dutch East India Company was formed 1602. In 1605, Admiral van der Hagen established Dutch factory at Masulipatanam and Petapoli, Nizamapattanam, Devanampattinam. In 1610, they negotiated with the king of Chandragiri, found another factory at Pulikat. It was the headquarters of the Dutch in India. The major commodities exported by the Dutch were indigo, salt, pepper, and Bengal raw silk. 2. What is the main objection of WTO? To set and enforce rules for international trade, to provide a forum for negotiating and monitoring further trade liberalization, to resolve trade disputes, introduction that sustainable development and environment can go together, to ensure that developing countries secure a better share of growth in world trade, to increase the transparency of decision-making processes, to ensure full employment and broad increase in effective demand. B. Brief answer. 1. Write briefly the history of globalization. The term of globalization was introduced by Pro Theodore Levitt. The historical background of globalization can be discussed on 3 stages. Stage 1, archaic globalization. Stage 2, proto-globalization. Stage 3, modern globalization. Archaic globalization. Archaic globalization is an early form of globalized economics and culture that existed during Hellenistic age. This globalization focused around the urban centers of Greece and stretched from India to Spain with cities like Alexandria, Athens, etc. The Islamic Golden Age was also an important early stage of globalization. The advent of the Mongol Empire greatly facilitated travel along the Silk Road. This pre-modern phase of global exchange is sometimes known as archaic globalization. Proto-globalization. The proto-globalization was characterized by the rise of maritime European empires in the 16th and 17th centuries, first the Portuguese and Spanish empires and Dutch and British empires. In the 17th century, globalization became private business phenomenon like British East India Company, described as the first multinational company and the first Dutch East India Company. In 16th century, Portuguese started establishing trading post factories from Africa to Asia and Brazil. Modern globalization. The 19th century witnessed the advent of globalization approaching its modern form. The significant differences between the globalization in the 19th and in the 20th century. The global trade of 20th century shows a higher share of trade in merchant production, a growth of the trade in services, and the rise of production and trade by multinational firms. Multinational trade contracts and agreements has been signed, like the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade (GATT) and the World Trade Organization (WTO).